ready for true happiness, for deep fulfillment, for feeling alive, on purpose, and in control of your life again? It's time to be the bold, brilliant, beautiful woman you were born to be. Welcome to the PurposeGirl podcast. I'm women's happiness and life purpose expert Karen Rockkind, and I'm going to teach you how to live on purpose, feel alive, and be happy in every aspect of life. I'm going to get real about my life and interview women who are living on purpose so that you can finally live yours. Welcome to the show.
Hello, 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 Purpose Girls, and welcome to the next episode of the Purpose Girl podcast. Question for you. Who inspires you? Literally, the word inspire is in spirit. So who brings out your full, most alive spirit? Who helps you feel brave and courageous? Who lets you know that dreams are possible? Who is like a sun bringing out your radiance? Who inspires you to be your best, biggest, boldest self? Because as women, that is a huge opportunity for us to allow other women to inspire us, to show us what is possible. Whether it is looking at our ancestors and our grandmothers who fought for the right to vote, or it is our mothers who showed us what is possible with career, with children, with life, or it's our best friends who are showing us how to get back up from challenge, or maybe it was a teacher who brought out your writing talent, your art talent, your math talent, whatever it might be. There is way too much in this world of women tearing each other apart, of women competing, women seeing women do well and wanting to bring them down. And so today's episode of the Purpose Girl podcast is all about the women who inspire me. Recently, I held the Women's Happiness Summit, the very first. And yes, we will be doing this again because it was so incredible and successful. And what I did there was gather 30 of the women who inspire me, who bring out my best so that I could share them with you. And so in today's episode of the Purpose Girl podcast, I am going to share some of their wisdom and what they shared in the Women's Happiness Summit, because it was so expansive, so explosive that women now around the world are inspired. So I'm going to share a little bit of what many of the women, many of the experts, many of the women who inspire me, who bring out my best, who show me that I can go bigger and bolder and expand and be more glorious. I am going to share their wisdom from the Women's Happiness Summit with you. So whether you attended the summit and this is a recap, or you didn't attend the summit and you're going to get some nuggets of inspiration, either way, this episode is all about inspiring you to be your best. First, I want to read the review of the week. It's called Rejuvenated. To say this podcast has inspired me is the understatement of the year. My priestess has always been clear that I am meant to light women up and help them find their true beauty and inner mermaid. I have recently lost myself in life and just started to find myself again. Thank you so much for giving yourself to your community and helping me and many others on this journey. I really hope to get to one of your retreats and maybe even start my own. From Jenna and Rome. Yes, 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 yes. So you shall. The more of us who hold retreats, the more people want to go on retreats. So there is not competition here, there is expansion. So yes, I am thrilled that you know that you are here to light women up, and you can do this, woman. You got this, and I'm thrilled that you found the podcast. So if you have not yet left a review, I'm going to ask you to pause this for 2 minutes. Hop on over to Apple Podcasts or your player to leave a 1-sentence review and a 5-star review. And the reason that we do that is that the more of you who leave a 5-star review, the more women around the world are finding us. Women all over the world are finding the Purpose Girl podcast, and it's because of you. So let's pause for a moment. As you think about this woman or women who inspire you, the question that I started with at the beginning of the episode, ask yourself, what is it about these women that are so inspiring? What is it that you admire? What strengths do you see in them? What characteristics, what wisdom have they shared in you? What guidance? Because whatever you see in them is in you. We are each a mirror for each other. We each mirror each other's radiance, and that's how we light each other up. So let's talk about the different experts in the Women's Happiness Summit. So let me first start talking about Michelle McQuaid. So she is a positive psychology expert, confidence expert, motivation expert in Australia. And what Michelle inspires me to do is to go for any dream. Like, she is constantly getting it done. When she's inspired by somebody, she contacts them, she gets them onto her podcast, or she contacts them and starts a book with them or creates a research project or article. And she just is like getting things done. And when she and I did the interview in the Women's Happiness Summit, what we talked about is being imperfect. Her whole interview was about confidence, right? How to be your most confident self. And to be imperfect is okay. And then the most hilarious thing happened in the interview where some of her technology wasn't working, some of my technology wasn't working, and we went on anyway. And that's what makes it so powerful. So many women I know are holding themselves back until they have something perfect, until they have, the right degree behind their name, until they have the program that they want to run 100% completed, until they have 100% of the requirements to apply for the job. And that is only holding us back more, because research has shown that men will apply for a job when they only have 60% of the requirements, and women wait until we have 100. So impactful, her talking about being imperfect and enjoying it and having fun with it and thinking that we are wonderful and adorable in our imperfections was such a highlight. Alex Jamieson, she was nominated for an Oscar for her work in Super Size Me, the video about eating McDonald's, all day long. And her brilliance is in play and our cravings, and how we can actually enjoy our cravings, whether that's Ben & Jerry's or it's going roller skating or it's having sex or whatever it might be, how we can indulge and enjoy without guilt, without apology, right? How often do you eat something? Let's just take the ice cream and you're, I shouldn't eat this, but you keep eating it. And so what I love about her is she inspires me to check in with my true self. And what do I really crave? And then honor my cravings with joy. Because when you honor your cravings with joy, you don't eat as much of it or you don't overdo it. You savor. And in that savoring, you're producing all sorts of good hormones, oxytocin, dopamine, beautiful things for your body. And that's going to help you even further go bigger and better and expand. And it's beautiful. So she inspires me to live all out. On her 40th birthday, she had a roller skating party. She inspires me to go big and play all out. Angela Duckworth, #1 New York Times bestselling author of Grit. And grit is having passion and perseverance toward a long-term goal. And no one knows about how to do this better than Angela. She has such a powerful story of having been a teacher and seeing young kids being judged for their IQ when really success is based on continuing through even when it's challenging, even when it seems that we're going to fail, even with all the distractions of social media or friends wanting our time or screen time. And her whole thing is that, yes, it takes time and effort, but as women, we were born to persevere. And so she teaches. First of all, she has taught me how to keep going for it. She's a mom. She is a New York Times bestselling author. She's a professor at Penn. In fact, she applied late to get her PhD at Penn. And she was so gritty that even though she applied late, she still got in. It was incredible. And this is a woman who perseveres based on her passion. And so that's how she inspires me. And she's so real. I emailed her to participate in the summit. And I think within 2 minutes, she emailed me back, yes. And she said the reason she's doing it is because I was one of her students. And she says, yes, to support her students. She's so real. She's this #1 New York Times bestselling author. And in the video, she's in her ponytail and a sweatshirt. Like, she's so real. And yet she perseveres with grit. And she's so inspiring to me. Misa Mink, who has started a network across the world empowering women to take action. She's very big into doing. In fact, every year she has a festival in London called the Festival of Doers. She inspires me to show up for my dreams, for my biggest, best self, no matter what. And her wisdom that you would hear in the Women's Happiness Summit was to start with the smallest step. And you show up even if no one is there. She tells this amazing story in the interview about how for her first event, no one showed up. But she still sat there for the whole 2 hours and then decided to celebrate being proud of herself for going for it. So that's the idea, right? We so often hold back because what if no one will like it? What if no one shows up? What if we fail? Well, anyone who heard about an event where no one showed up would say, oh, well, maybe that's a failure. But she didn't see it that way. She said, yes, I showed up, and that's a win. And so she kept showing up, and now she has an international network of women who are taking steps toward their dreams. So inspiring to me. Dr. Rachel Talton. Rachel is a leadership expert, and her philosophy is that every woman is a leader. And in the Women's Happiness Summit, she shared how she learned about leadership from her grandmother, a woman who didn't have an education, a woman whose father had been slaves. And she saw in her grandmother, who had many children, how to be a leader of a family, and by leading others, having positive influence. That's how we rise up and we help others rise. It's not about the degree that you have. It's not about how many letters you have after your name. It's not about getting it perfect. It's about being a positive influence on others. And that's something that every one of us can do, no matter where we are in an organization, no matter what our situation is. Her leadership inspires me beyond. And she shares a story about how her first husband died tragically. And she kept going. And that's leadership. It's inspiring and empowering others. Stacey Hoffer, one of my closest friends and a brilliant guide in self-love and the divine feminine, teaches how to love ourselves, how to receive. As women, we constantly think it's better to give than to receive, right? Our brains are wired for nurturing. We're wired to care for others. And then is it any wonder that we end up so drained, so exhausted, so depleted? And I think we all want to do something for ourselves, right? Whether it's going on a retreat, or it's going to the spa, or it's just taking an hour to ourselves and sitting in a park and listening to the birds, right? Or dancing for 15 minutes by ourselves without someone wanting our time. We have this idea that it's better to give than to receive. And what she teaches is that it's better to give and receive. That it's only by receiving that we have the full power to give to others. And her interview is so powerful that she teaches a receiving practice. And it's about checking in every day with, what do you need to receive? And as one of my closest friends, what I love is witnessing her live her truth. She has taught me to slow down. Because I'm fiery, right? She and I laugh that I'm fire and she's water. And that's why we do a lot of work together, because we complement each other. And my fire makes me want to go, 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 do. Get more done. Succeed, succeed, succeed. And Stacey, in her beautiful, flowy, watery way, has taught me that when we slow down, we aren't just doing like crazy. We are in our bodies. We can actually hear our heart and soul. And we can hear what it is that we really need to receive. And then we can fill up and serve from the overflow. Then we can be the shining sun that radiates others to shine as well. It's so powerful. All right, Valerie Burton. She is a 12-time best-selling author, helping women to be happier and succeed. She is on the Today Show coaching. She has built a coaching school. She inspires me to no end because her success, she built it all from scratch. And beyond that, she has been grounded in what is meaningful to her. She has an absolute power of integrity and authenticity and what is meaningful. And her most recent book is all about asking the question, what is meaningful to you? Right? Where urgency, the phone is beeping at you. People are trying to get your attention. Everybody wants something from you, right? Everybody, Mom, is it dinner time yet? Or people at the office want to catch 15 minutes, 15. Everybody wants something from you. The urgency, we're constantly picking up our phones to see, did we get another like? Did we get another notification? Did I get another text? And what she helps us do is to sink into choosing the meaningful, what's meaningful to you, over what seems to just be urgent. And there are times that things are urgent, right? There are real emergencies. But in general, how often are we choosing what's right in front of us? Like the text messages that seem to need to be replied to, or emails that people want something from us, when really what's meaningful to us in that moment, she shares a story, might be watching a sunset with her family. Or what's meaningful is to not just reply to your boss's emails at 10 p.m. and instead use that time for connection, use that time to work on the jewelry business that you've wanted, use that time to paint, use that time for what you want, as is your right. And it's incredible. She talks about how perfectionism or optimism thinks that they're helping us, but how they actually can lead us astray. Leah Piper. This woman, I have received so many emails from women who loved her talk on the Women's Happiness Summit because she was all about shifting from body conscious to goddess conscious, right? How do you shift from just looking at your body in the mirror and going, oh, my belly, oh, my cellulite, oh, my thighs, and shifting into knowing you are a goddess, being able to look at your body with such love, speaking lovingly to your precious, beautiful body, even if you don't yet believe it. So powerful. And she is a master in Tantra. And Tantra is a form of yoga, but not yoga like in today's world where you go do all these power poses and sweat. That's not Tantra yoga. Tantra yoga is the feminine. It is pulling up energy from our womb space as women, this sacred space that is only feminine. Whether you have children or not, there's a sacred space in woman that is creation. And it is using that to create and manifest, womanifest, as I like to say, in your life. It requires, though, that we are in such approval of ourselves, that we love ourselves, that we actually see ourselves as goddess, which is why I do the Goddess Girls Retreat. Because as we see ourselves as goddess, it's not arrogant. It's the ability, as my mentor, Regina Thomashower, says, to be the sun and radiate our light to everybody else. That's what we're here for. That's our purpose. And so Leah talks about how to become that sun, even if you don't yet believe it. And it's so powerful. I've received so many messages about her talk. She shares that it is what you say to yourself in the mirror, what you say to yourself in the bathtub, even if you don't yet believe it, that you keep looking at yourself with the eyes of a lover. You keep looking at yourself with eyes of a mother. You keep looking at yourself as if your toes are the most delightful, cute things you have ever seen. And that is how we come and we reclaim, right? When we were little girls, we would run around. We didn't care that we had big bellies or that our thighs had thighs on them, right? It was okay to be quote unquote chubby, right? It was beautiful. We were beautiful bodies and we would dance and we would love our bodies. And that is our opportunity now. You want to raise your frequency. You want to become bigger and bolder and live more purposefully. You want to be more alive. You want to do more. You want to take your birthright in creating what you are here to create on earth. It begins by seeing the goddess in you. And that's what she taught on the Women's Happiness Summit. Let me break for a second and tell you about the media sponsor for the Women's Happiness Summit. Live Happy is one of my favorite resources for everything about positive psychology, the science of happiness. You already know from listening to the Purpose Girl podcast that happier people are healthier and more satisfied with life and that they live longer. Live Happy provides articles, research, podcasts, tons of tools, tons of hands-on tips and inspiring stories rooted in the science of positive psychology. And so it will help you find your authentic happiness in life, at work, and home. I go to Live Happy when I want to learn new research. I go to Live Happy to read incredible stories by Sean Aker, who's one of the world's leading researchers, leading speakers in positive psychology. Or if I want to learn how to profit from the positive, profit at work, I will go read from Margaret Greenberg and Senya Myman. There's so much on Live Happy. Live Happy delivers award-winning content, in-depth features, and the latest news. Plus, they give resources like book recommendations, lifestyle blogs, tech columns, so much. Their Live Happy Now podcast is incredible. It launched in 2015 and tops the charts and recently won an award for audio distinction. They have guests like Gretchen Rubin, Jack Kornfield, John Kabat-Zinn, who's like one of the world's leaders in mindfulness meditation. You can listen at any time. And then they have this super fun store called the Live Happy Store where they've got t-shirts and all sorts of items for people to radiate positivity. So you want to go check out livehappy.com, livehappy.com. And thank you to Live Happy for being the media sponsor for the Women's Happiness Summit. And back to our review of the women who inspire me, and we're on the Women's Happiness Summit. Kristin Neff is the world's leading researcher in self-compassion. And I have to tell you that when I graduated from my master's degree in positive psychology from the University of Pennsylvania, I was like, this is amazing, but how come my heart still feels like poo, right? Why am I still beating myself up so much? And what I recognized was that there was an emotional component that was needed because of deep wounds, right? Deep wounds from being in 5th grade and the girls rejecting me. And so me not able to just work it out in my mind, I had to work it out in my heart. Deep wounds of my first love who abused me, deep wounds. And so I, as a recovering beat myself upper, what I needed most was self-compassion. People used to say to me all the time, my mom, my best friends, Karen, you are so hard on yourself. And what really helped me was finding Kristin Neff. I read her book. I went to one of her 5-day intensives, and she teaches that self-compassion, being able to name an emotion and normalize it, and being able to talk to yourself, sweetheart, darling, love, being able to touch your heart, being able to touch your face gently, being able to really treat yourself as you would a child with so much kindness and tenderness and love, even if you make a mistake, even if you screw up royally. That is the way that we succeed. And she shares how research shows that people beat themselves up because they think it's going to motivate them. But research shows the opposite is true. It's like if you play tennis and you had a coach who was like, you suck, you're terrible, you're never going to be any good. That's not going to make you want to play better. But if you had a coach who said, you have so much potential. Oh my gosh, I see you. Yeah, you could have done that shot a little bit better. I don't know tennis. I don't know why I chose that example, but you know what I'm saying. You could have done that serve a little bit better. Here's how you can fix it, right? That's compassionate. And so she really teaches how to normalize it because it's very human to make mistakes or to have a variety of feelings. And so her talk is so inspiring. She is so inspiring, teaching how to love ourselves, right? Touching ourselves with kindness, speaking kindly. Barb Fredrickson, one of my professors from the University of Pennsylvania. She's actually a professor at the University of North Carolina, a distinguished professor, tenured, speaks all over the world on the science of positivity, the science of love. And she teaches, right, about how to shift our brain because our brain has something called negativity bias, where our brain wants to go negative all the time. Mine too, all of us. But through her research, she has shown that positive emotion has an evolutionary advantage, right? We think that negative emotions, quote unquote negative, like stress or fear or anger, that those are the survival emotions because they lead to fight, flight, and they do. And she has shown that when we experience more positive emotions, when we can balance out the challenging emotions with the uplifting motivations, that what we actually then do are we're flooding our bodies with good hormones, with being able to open our minds, being able to be more creative, being able to see more. And so she inspires me to know, and she is the leader across the world in opening up our minds in positivity. Stella Grisant, a dear friend of mine, soul sister. In fact, the majority of these women are soul sisters and dear friends of mine and colleagues. Stella Grisant inspires me to no end. She is so real. And her whole thing is how to be happier at work. And she teaches, we think, oh, it's the boss that sucks or it's the job that stinks. She teaches us how to be clear on our values and our vision and how to create that. Her talk, about all these talks, I've heard so much positive feedback. It's been incredible. Susie Pawelski, she and her husband James wrote a book about how to be happy together. And her husband James was actually also one of my professors at the University of Pennsylvania. And they are both successful in their own right, in their own work. And what they noticed was how many people get into a relationship saying, you complete me, right? The old Jerry Maguire situation, or thinking that someone else is going to fill in whatever's missing from their life, or relying so heavily on thinking, I must have a husband, I need someone else, I'm not going to be happy until I have a man or a woman or whatever it might be. And what they found was how damaging. And so they wrote a book looking at all of the research and doing experiments with themselves about how to complement each other, right? Not you complete me, you complement me. And that if I know your strengths and you know my strengths, we can complement each other in the relationship. And someone, after hearing her talk, emailed and said, that talk alone has shifted my marriage. And so it's so powerful if we can think of our life partner, our romantic partner, as complementing us, and that we ourselves need to know our strengths and our values and our vision for our life, and then we can complement one another. Pax Tandon is a woman who inspires me around mindfulness, around quieting the mind, around going deeper. I used to think I could never quiet my mind. Friends I knew were meditating or doing different mindfulness practices, and I was like, yeah, not for me. My mind never shuts up. And they said to me, yeah, Karen, that's why you need it. Because left to its own devices, your mind goes crazy, right? Your mind's constantly thinking about what you did wrong or what went wrong or the past, or constantly thinking about the future. What might go wrong? Are the kids okay? What do I have to do at work? What do we need for the grocery store, right? Like constantly. And what mindfulness does, right? So our brain left to its own devices will just run unless we run it. And this is our opportunity with mindfulness. And Pax has learned the art of mindfulness, and she teaches how to quiet our mind, how to ground in and live from that space. And so just talking to her allowed me to get into my body, to quiet my mind in a whole new place. And she inspires me so much in that way. My dear friend and soul sister, Emilia Zhivatovskaya. Emilia's talk on vitality, right? Think about what the word vitality means to you. To me, it's living fully. It's a body that is vibrant. It is being your healthiest self. It's being that full sunshine. And so her talk, we think so often about our vitality or about wellness as exercise and eating greens, and that's a couple aspects. She also talks about how the most important thing for our vitality is sleep. Because in fact, if you aren't getting enough sleep, you're probably not going to make as good food choices as you could. And so really our vitality, feeling into what does my body need? What does my body crave? And in addition to her being so incredibly knowledgeable, Emilia inspires me because she lives this way. She's constantly going to new courses and certifications. She's working on her PhD in mind-body medicine because she is so curious about how to support the body in functioning to its full potential. And so whether it's taking pole dancing classes or Reiki healing, energy healing, or it's learning different chiropractic techniques, Emilia is walking her talk. And so to see how she's taking care of her body, and she shares that when she was a teenager, she was a smoker. She could barely run the mile that she had to in school. How she grew up in a family that didn't take care of their bodies, but how she realized that she could make a choice and how powerful that is. So for the Women's Happiness Summit, I interviewed 23 experts who inspire me. And I also had the pleasure of giving my own talk on the Women's Happiness Summit. And it was such a joy for me to be able to share how to identify your purpose. I dove into the 4 different aspects of purpose, your strengths, your passions, your talents, and your wisdom, and shared how to actually shift from pain into purpose and how to begin right away, right? How we take the steps forward to living your purpose immediately. And it was such a joy to get to share what I love as well. And then because I had so many more experts that I love and who inspire me so much, I decided to add 6 bonus experts for anyone who got what we called the All Access Pass. And the All Access Pass is a collection of 30 interviews, so the 24 plus 6 additional, all packaged together so that you can have forever access to them, right? So if you missed the summit or you missed some of the recordings, you couldn't catch them all, you can get all 30 interviews in this all access pass. And so some of the additional experts that I had, Jeanette Method on how to have hard conversations, right? Do you ever need to have a hard conversation with your partner? Maybe it's about money, or it's about sex, or maybe it's about a desire that you're afraid wanting to travel and that they will say, no, we don't have money for that. Or a hard conversation with a family member and you're just not getting along, and how do you work through it? Or a hard conversation at work where you just can't see eye to eye and you want to just scream and strangle somebody. And she teaches, and it's so inspiring to me, how to take the conversation higher. How we focus on a higher goal. It's absolutely incredible to me. And that as we remain focused on that higher goal, then we can have the result that we want rather than getting caught up in the petty. I also interviewed Celine Sugai, who is an expert in Gallup Strengths. Gallup is a worldwide organization that's all about well-being. And the research shows that if we live from our strengths, we are happier, we are more successful. And so when we know what our specific strengths are, and each one of us has different strengths, and that's awesome, right? Sometimes we look at someone else, we say, she's so creative, why can't I be creative? Or we look at someone else, we go, oh, they're so analytical, why am I not able to just understand these numbers? Or we look at someone else, we go, oh, they're so extroverted, they can win anybody over, and we get so jealous, envious. And beyond that, we start to feel bad about ourselves, right? Do you ever do that? The idea of strengths, there's a science of strengths. And the idea is, instead of saying, well, I don't have those things, I must suck, the idea is to say, oh, how brilliant that Judy has the strengths of positivity while I have the strengths of analyzing. And what a great team we make together. That's the idea, is to celebrate your own strengths. And that the more you use what's natural and powerful for you, the more you thrive. It's kind of like that old adage that says, a rose doesn't look at a sunflower and say, I wish I was you. No, the rose is beautiful and the sunflower is beautiful. Both are true. And so she really teaches how to be able to identify your own strengths. And then she shares that strengths even helped her with her boyfriend and being able to connect better, being able to understand each other. And that the idea is that we need to be proud of ourselves for the strengths that we do have. There were so many additional interviews that I just don't have time on this podcast to get into all of them. But it was so inspiring because at the end of each video, I asked each woman this question. Given how many women you serve, or many of them were mothers of daughters, I said, what is it that you think each woman needs to know? And these answers blew me away. As they talked about how we are perfect as we are in our imperfections, as they talked about giving ourselves permission to follow dreams, as they talked about being kind to ourselves, as they talked about giving ourselves a break. These women who are so successful, who have achieved so much, who inspire me to no end, shared their heart and their wisdom. It was wisdom that if each one of us could just see ourselves as knowing that we are enough, that we don't have to try harder, that we don't have to change, we don't have to fix ourselves, that even our quote unquote imperfections are beautiful, that we can do everything that we set our heart to. They inspire me to go higher. And that's why I wanted to share some of their wisdom with you today. Because what transpired in the Women's Happiness Summit is that thousands of women around the world were inspired. They were lifted up. One of the participants, Annette, said, I have a journal full of inspiration. Gianna learned from the summit to accept and love me as I am, to be open to receiving, that we're stronger together. Lisa said that she's going to start writing her book because of what she learned on the summit. Kathleen said what she learned was female fierceness, positivity. Nicole said that what she learned is that time is a precious commodity. She said she needs to use it for the ones that she loves and the passions that she wants to explore. She said she now knows that she can do anything that she sets her mind to. Yes, Nicole. Amazing. Cindy identified that she wants to stop her inner mean girl. I love this, which is something that Stacey Hoffer talked about. She said, my inner mean girl is not my friend, and she steals so much of my joy and my precious time, shifting to the positive every second. She said that the summit gave her tools to capture and challenge every thought. And she says, thank you so much for giving us this precious gift. It's been amazing. Jen says she learned that it's okay to change courses in life and that you need to honor what is on your heart and your soul. Emily said she learned from this summit that this is your life and you need to do what makes you happy, regardless of what others think. No one else is living your life for you. So if you aren't happy or fulfilled or positive, then you are the one who needs to do the work and figure out how to change what's off in your life. She says there's so many tools available. It's incredible. April said what she learned was inspiration and knowing that it's okay to be who you are and enjoy life to its fullest. She also said from the summit, she got a new support group to be a part of. Yay, April, because she and so many women joined the Purpose Girls Facebook group from this. So I could go on and on. It was just an absolute week of inspiration. Lisa said, I was struck by the power of women coming together to support not just each other, but also change the world. It gave me hope for the future of the planet. Lisa, all of you nailed it, but Lisa, that was exactly the point of the Women's Happiness Summit. Women are literally the creators, and so our genius is to be able to inspire the world. And that is why I put together the Women's Happiness Summit, to change the world one woman at a time so that we change the future of this planet. And if there has ever been a time when we need to change the future of the planet, it is now. What is needed now are the feminine gifts, feminine strengths of compassion, of nurturing, of love, of fiercely standing for a new kind of connection. The Women's Happiness Summit and just knowing all of these women reminded me how powerful we each are and how much more powerful we are when we come together, when we allow other women to inspire us. And so that's who I hope to be for you. And that's what I hope that these women do for you. If you missed the summit or you didn't catch all of the interviews or you were only able to get a couple, absolutely no problem. We got your back. That's why we created the All Access Pass. So the All Access Pass has 30 expert interviews, all of those that I just shared and more, such as Elaine O'Brien sharing about positive aging and how to keep yourself healthy, like just so many interviews. So all 30 interviews downloadable so that you can watch them at any time. So it's on your own time. And the beauty of that is that, let's say right now you're not in a relationship, but then a year from now you are in a relationship and there's things that are rocky. Well, then you can go and listen to Susie Pawelski's talk exactly when you need it. Or let's say that 6 months from now you gain 10 pounds and you're like, oh, now I'm upset with my body. Well, great news. You can go listen to Leah Piper's talk. So that's what the All Access Pass gives you. It's downloadable, forever access to all 30 expert interviews. And just like the women that I read to you, you will be so inspired. And that's the whole idea of the Women's Happiness Summit, is to inspire women and change the world one woman at a time, beginning with you, beginning with me, beginning with each of these speakers, and us inspiring everyone around us. Because that's what a woman is. She is like the sun and she radiates to everyone else. So we have to be our big, bright selves. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode of the Purpose Girl podcast, that you allow it to inspire and move you. If you loved it, please share it. Share it with your friends, share it with your female colleagues, share the idea of the Women's Happiness Summit with every woman that you know and every man, because they can be inspired too. I got lots of emails from men about it. If you are not yet part of our free Facebook group, hop on over there, look for Purpose Girls, the Women's Happiness Network. We are a growing community, 1,700 strong and growing, of women inspiring each other, supporting each other, uplifting each other, telling each other that they can go for their dreams. It's incredible. I do a Facebook Live every other week, so make sure that you are heading over there and getting daily inspiration. Also, follow me on Instagram if you're not yet, at Karen Rockhind, LinkedIn. I want to hear from you. I love connecting with you. And of course, leave that 5-star review. It helps women all over the world find us. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Purpose Girl podcast. With that, may you live purposefully. May you love yourself and may you love life. Bye for now.